Alright, before entering in the console, let's see what's the difference between let and const in terms of graphical representation. So we'll have two cases, one for let and one for const. And let's say in the first case, we're defining let a equals 10. This means that at the memory address FFFA, we'll be setting the value 10. And then if we try to reassign this memory address by using again let a equals to 15, I will see that this is not allowed. In cases of let, we are allowed to change this value, but not the memory address. That's why if we define a variable with let a equals to 10, we can change the value of a, because this is not interfering with changing the address the variable is pointing to, but just the value contained within this address. In case of const, we have one more restriction. Not only that we are not allowed to change the address the variable is pointing to, but we are not even allowed to change the value containing in this memory address. Now let's go to the console.
So if you have a code which uses a lot of vars, we can successfully replace all the vars that we have with let. So let's say that we have a equals 10, and then we can change the value of a. For example, a equals 5, and this is perfectly normal. But for example, if you want to redeclare a with let, so again, if we type a equals, let's say 15, this will not work. And that's because already a memory has been reserved for a, and we're trying to reserve another memory cell and fill it with data, and that produces an error. But keep in mind that once a is defined, we can change the value of this memory cell a is pointing to. So if I type a equals 20, you can see that there is no problem with this. Now let's see the difference with const. So if we type const b equals 10, and then if we try to redefine the value of b to 5, we'll see that we have an error. And that's what the constants are used for. We define them somewhere in our code, and afterwards we are sure that they will not be changed. And now comes the question when we should choose to use let and when const. Const should be used for all the data that we don't expect to be overwritten in our code. All the other cases can be handled by let. Let's consider the following example. Let's have a user and it will be an empty object. And this is our declaration. Now if we try to add a new key and value to this empty object, we'll be able to succeed. So if we type user.name equals Bob, this is totally fine. And we see that we have a property with a key of name and a value of Bob. And that's totally fine because we are not changing the memory location where this user is pointing to. But the moment we change this location, so for example, user equals to, and here we specify another object, we'll see an error because we are trying to reassign the memory location towards where this constant is pointing to.